most of you know, my channel is no stranger to new direction. We've had the review of the bite alarms that I'm still using to date. We had the other review of the bobbins, we won't talk about so much. So when New Direction contacted me again a couple of months ago and said, can we send you our bait boat to try and do a review on? I obviously said yes. Now, me being the heavy bait boat user that you know I am, in fact the only time I've used a bait boat before is here.
I'm on a boat, I'm on a boat, everybody look at me cause I'm sailing on a boat. I'm on a boat, I'm on a boat, take a good hard look at the...
And that didn't go so well for me. Obviously I'm a bait boat expert and I know everything about them. So they sent me their bait boat. It's in this lovely big black shiny case. I'm going to open it up, show it to you, and we'll have a look and see what we initially think about it. I have charged it up and had it all going at home just to make sure. It hasn't been in water yet. This will be its maiden voyage, so it might sink, I might capsize it, I might drive it into a tree and never get it back. All those things are quite likely. So let's get it open and have a look, shall we? Big heavy duty zip. Lovely. Has a shoulder strap as well. I don't think that's how it's meant to be. Ah! There we go. So, fits in the case obviously. And that's it there. Now, initial impressions to me, it reminds me of a Hyundai. I don't know why. I've said this to a few people now. That's not really a complaint. I used to work for Hyundai and think they're good looking cars, but it looks like a Hyundai to me. Lovely paint job. Bit of metallic flake in there if you like. Big stickers all down the side. Headlights, side lights, tail lights. The back's obviously got the two propeller things in and they're covered up so they don't get snagged up in weed, which is lovely. So that's the initial look at the bait boat. In here you've got all the charging cables stuff, we'll get onto this in a second. But to start with, I think let's have a closer look at the actual boat itself, see what the build quality is like, and let you have a real closer look at it. So as you can see, it's actually really well built and it looks the part as well. I think it looks really good. I haven't seen a bait boat that looks like this before. I've either seen really cheap, knackered, horrible ones on eBay that are a remote control boat with a Tupperware tub on top, or I've seen the wave runner types, you know, the big massive things like the one I used for Chris, HMS Ark Royal we ended up calling it. I've never seen one look like this and I think it's quite nice. Different than other bait boats. I think it looks pretty cool, and all the lights are obviously functional as you've just seen then. Headlights, you've got these little blue side runners on the side as well, and then an amazing little light cluster at the back, so when you're turning left or right the corresponding light illuminates and you can see which way you're turning if you can't see the boat turning itself, which is probably useful. On the back you've got a few things. You've got the aerial socket, power button, then you've got a waterproof covered area which has got the charging port and two USB ports in there as well. Now you can use a USB port to charge the handset. Now onto the other box, let's have a look inside here. Now inside the box, or hard case should I say, you get a few things. You get an instruction manual, you get a little micro USB cable there which is to charge the handset up off the boat or off the plug at home or whatever. You obviously get a charging cable which has got a 3-pin UK plug in it. You also get another charging cable which is for Europe, I imagine. So that's what you get in there. You get a funky little screwdriver which is really cool. Dead nice little screwdriver. I'm not quite sure what this is for yet as I haven't experimented or taken the boat apart because I'd break it. We get a little screwdriver. And you get the handset itself. Now this is the handset, this is the control unit for the boat, or the main control unit for the boat should I say. Comes with a little aerial that you screw on like so, and that is the control unit. Wicked little bit of kit. Now, as I say, I've only used one bait boat before, and that had basically the same controller I used to use when I was a kid to play with cars and stuff. So a big two-handed remote control, which means you couldn't hold your rod or keep the line tight when you were dropping your bait or do anything else. Both hands were on the controller. This one-handed, little joystick like a PlayStation or an Xbox, a couple of buttons, a couple of trigger buttons there, all for setting it up. Really nifty, I really like it. Little charging port in the side, and you've got a row of 8 little lights on the front there. There for the GPS locations, home, the power light and things like that. So that's that. Now we all know that the best way to review an item is to use it, so that's what we're going to do today. I'm not just going to show you pretty footage of a bait boat and then say see you later. We're going to use it, obviously. So we've come back to one of my favourite places, Winterley Fisheries. We're on the point swim, pegs 3 and 4. Boy Pete is here with me behind the camera, and I've always wanted to use a bait boat on this peg. Reason being, the main bay, which you can see off right in the corner over there, is about 150 yards away. Now if you watch any of my other videos, you know that I'm not a big caster, so I can never fish that with a normal rod and reel. Far snaggy tree line over there as well, that's about 110, 115 yards away, but loads of big overhanging trees, so if you're casting you can't actually get under the trees. And yeah, that is an area that I've always wanted to exploit with the use of a bait boat, because I can't get a bait there by normal methods. But what we're going to do now, we're going to get it in the water, briefly show you how to set it up. New Direction have got loads of videos on their YouTube channel telling you how to use all the individual settings, how to set it as a home destination, how to mark it, how to do everything that you need to do, which is what I watched, so I knew how to use it. On their website they've got loads and loads of videos on their YouTube channel, so head on over there if you do want to have a look at getting one. All the instructions are on there, really good little instructional videos as well, just to help you along the way with using it, because even though there's one little controller, it does do a lot, which I haven't really touched on yet. This little bad boy here has full GPS on it, so that means with this one little remote control you can set, I'm just counting them, you can set 4 locations with this, and a home location, if that's right. I'm going to go with that. Yeah, 4 locations and a home location. By the press of a button, it'll remember your spots and it'll take your bait to your spot with one press of a button. That comes as standard on this thing. I know that with other manufacturers it's the 300 or 400 quid option to have that built in. With this thing it comes as standard. So to set it up it's really, really easy. There's 2 little set buttons here on the back. You press them, it's job done. So I'm not going to go into that too much detail. If you want to see how the GPS is actually set up and your spots are set, head on over to the New Direction YouTube channel, it's all on there. The other little gem about this phone, with it being New Direction, we know that they like their Bluetooth, so you can connect it to your phone and you can set it all up off your phone, so you can use your phone, pick your spot on the lake, press the screen, it'll take your bait there for you. You can save all your locations on GPS on your phone. You can have little lake maps with all your hotspots saved on there, so when you get back to the lake you just press the same spot, it takes the bait there for you automatically. It's just the next generation, isn't it? Let's be honest, that's how it's all going to be. You don't really need to steer it at all. You only need to steer it once to get it to your spots, and then you don't have to use that little joystick again. Press all the buttons, it'll do it for you, which, if you're a lazy angler like I am, in certain situations, I think it's brilliant. So let's get it in the water, let's get it all set up. I'm actually going to set it up on the far tree line over there for 2 of the spots. The 3rd spot is going to be right in the corner over there, and I'm actually going to walk round to the road to set it up on that location so I can see exactly where I want it to go. A little bit of an edge maybe. I can do that because Pete's here as well, so he's on the rods. So I'm going to walk around there to do that one. We're going to stick the GoPro on the bait boat so you get a boat's eye view of everything that's going on. And we're going to have a bit of fun with it, see if we can catch some fish. We've got loads of different rigs to try, loads of different baits to try in it as well that I've never been able to use on Winterley before. We'll go through all that as they're going out. But yeah, let's have some fun. Right, the first thing I found with the control unit and the GPS, set the home destination just down here, that's fine. Now I've sent it out to spot 1, which is over on that end of that tree line right over there, and it's sort of, can you see it might be me, but it likes to come back and go in this sort of arc that it's doing. Sent it straight out there, it's coming back over here. You can interrupt it when it's on its own, so I'm just going to leave it a second and see what it does. I'm not touching anything. Not touching anything. I'm not going to touch anything. Not. Impact. Impact. It's sort of doing it. That's where I set us home. But yeah, so it did sort of work, and that's position 1. You can see the little light there. That's position 1 just there. That's home. That's flashing to tell me the GPS is working. So I'm going to send it out to spot 2 now, which is basically right over there. Which, this is a wide angle lens, so it looks like it's about 2 miles away, but it's about 110, 115 yards that is to that spot. So I'm going to send it out there. I'm not going to record it with this because it's about a minute and a half of you just watching a bait boat go across the water. So I'm going to send it straight there, perfect straight line, straight to it, and then I will touch base with you on its return to see what it does. Hi again. So we've sent to the second spot, it's coming back. A little bit of a curve again, not as much as the last one obviously, but it's probably the same sort of curve to spot, if that makes sense. But she's coming back, here she is, she's made it all the way. Quite a nippy little boat that is. Here she comes. See? Off she goes to home, look. Boop, there's home. Whoa, there we go. So yeah, and that one's right at the far tree line, no interruptions in signal or anything. I went straight out there, so all good. It's just about to start to rain, so I'm going to wait a minute, stick the GoPro on it, and then we're going to send it over the far corner. I'm going to walk around to the road, send over to the far corner. All the rods are out at the minute, we're not fishing, so I'll send it over to the far corner, walk around to the road, and I'll control it from over there so I can make sure it's exactly where I want it. Right, so I'm slowly discovering things. I've used the controller and I've set a couple of spots, and then I wanted to see if you turn the control on the bait boat off, it would then save the spots. Long story short, it doesn't. So all the spots with input don't get saved if you just use the hand remote, which when you think about it sort of makes sense, because how is it going to store those spots and remember them all the time? So I sort of get that, but I didn't know, so I just wasted about 20 minutes with finding spots and driving the bait boat round. But then I downloaded the app. It comes with an app, as you can see here, and you can save your spots on any lake at any time, anywhere you want on the app. And I've just done the same thing. So I used the bait boat, went out to the spots, and then saved them on the app, driving them around with this. And I've saved the spots, closed the app down, turned it all off, turned it all back on again, and the spots are still there. So to save your spots, you have to use the app, which is fine. It's a really useful app actually, I'll show you in a second. But first mistake, don't save your spots just with the controller and then turn it all off, because it's not going to work. So saving the spots with the controller itself doesn't make a lot of sense. You just use the controller for dropping your bait wherever you want to. If you want to save your spots and use the GPS properly, you need to use the app. So here is the app. I'm going to show you in a very technical way. I'm not going to do any screen capture or anything like that. I'm literally going to hold it for you like this. So hang on a second. There you go. So you can see the app here. This is the app. Those 4 spots there are the 4 spots that I have saved. There should be 4. Yes, there's 4 spots. Got 4 spots saved on there at the moment. You can change it between satellite view and normal sort of map mode if you like. All the spots are color coded. Down the side here, let's see if it makes it easy. Yeah, there you go. You might be able to see it a bit better. You've got a little target symbol there, which I can't remember what that does. And there's a little symbol under here is your spots. When you press that, you got your spots here. You click the spot that you want to go to, bish bash bosh, and then you've got another one here which is your home button. That's a stop button. You can turn the lights on. Let me control the bait boat into shot so you can see it. Can you see it? There we go. Hit the light button, lights come on, lights go off. You can open the hoppers and stuff from here. That's what that little target does. So you can open the hoppers and you can open the hook release as well, all on the app. And that's that. You can zoom in and out obviously, and they're all saved, and that's it. Another funky thing about this little app, here you have the speed of the bait boat. On the top you have the signal, you have the temperature of the CPU of the bait boat, which is nice, a battery usage symbol, and an actual voltage meter as well, so you can see how many volts it's actually using, which is quite cool. It has a little compass so you can see which way you're facing, and yeah, so if you want to use it properly, use the app. Really helpful, which is what we've just figured out after a lot of faffing. So I've got 4 spots on there now. It's really hard to see from here. I'm not going to walk around the other side because I've got the app. I've placed it where I think is right. Now the GPS on the app does look from the naked eye from this bank like it's off by 7 foot maybe. Doesn't quite look like where the bait boat was, does it? So it looks like it might be off by about 7 foot. These two here are actually more in the snags. I'm not sure if you can see that or not. This one here is actually a little bit further back in the bay, and that one's a little bit further up as well. So they look like they're about 7 foot off, but it is GPS signal, so it's never going to be absolutely perfect. So we're going to actually load up some rigs now. We're going to put a rig out using the bait boat, using the app alone, and see how it works. I'm not going to use the hook on the back. I don't like it. I didn't like it on Chris's boat either. I'm going to use actual hoppers and put the rigs inside the hoppers as well. Not from the top, obviously, from underneath and scoot it under, which is how Chris showed me he did it with his wave runner. I quite like that method, so I'm going to do it that way. I'm sure the hook works for certain rigs and stuff. I'm not a fan of it. So I'm going to do that, and I'll get set up first and show you the bait that I'm going to be putting in this one, and then we'll send it out. Right, so rig 1 and baiting strategy 1. I have a big heavy 5-ounce inline lead. I'm figuring out that if I'm fishing from a boat, why not use a massive lead? Drop off style, obviously, to a supplish hook link. That's the new Fox spliceable hook link stuff. Well, not new, but that's the Fox spliceable hook link stuff. To a Ronnie with a little white GLS dumbbell pop up on, and in the hopper I'm going to put some 3mm bloodworm pellets, a few boilies, only a few, and then some pre-digested liver liquid. I'm trying to fish with tactics that I wouldn't normally use at Windley because I'm always casting and using a throwing stick. So I'm going to use a little bed of bait, pellets, loads of liquid, couple of boilies and my little pop-up, and leave it at that. Put it in the hopper and send it out there. Once in the hopper, show you how it looks, show you how much it takes. Got the GoPro on the boat as well, so that's ready to record what's going on out there because I can't see what's going on. But yeah, so we'll get it loaded up and I'll show you how it looks. Right, so that's the bait boat loaded up, ready for its maiden voyage with bait on. Let me show you what we've got. So, in there, we've got some pellets, a few boilies, loads of liquid, rigs in the back there. I've tucked it under the back of the boat, underneath there, and up through the hopper. As you can see there, that's the rig. Should work to me, if you ask me. And then we've got the GoPro on the back. She's sort of looking down to the front a little bit. So there's nothing left to do now apart from send it out on its maiden baiting voyage and see how she fares. The rain started again, so this camera's going away. I haven't got a waterproof cover for that camera. Nightmare. But let's get it out there and let's see how she fares with baiting. So spot 1 went out well actually, no problems at all. Spot 2 is ready. This is a different type of rig again. I'm going with pretty much boilies only. A small scattering of tiger nuts, because why not? I've got this in a helicopter rig, 5-ounce gripper lead, and a slip D combi rig in there with a snowman on. Something a bit different again. We'll press record on the GoPro. We'll send this out to spot number 2. See how this one fares. Well, we know how we all like a little update on this channel. This is about 15 minutes after I last spoke to you when I was getting the baits out. All 3 of mine went out swimmingly, thanks to the bait boat. Really good, worked really well, dropped both hoppers with the bait in. It's raining, so I didn't show you the fill on the 3rd rod, but that was a little mulb dumbbell pop-up on a slip D combi rig again. But that had some particle in around it, some boilie, some hemp and some maize. Pete's now using the bait boat to put his rods out, but as you can see, 5 minutes ago I had 3 rods out. I now have 1. Now that you might think is a really good thing, but it's not at all. The first rod to go of mine was the left hand rod, which was in the back bay. That was a really weird drop back. I'll show you my indicator set I'm using for these in a second because I'm using big leads. So that was a really weird drop back, lifted into it, and it was a bream. So I'd bait boated my stuff out 150 yards, dropped it, got the boat back, and a bream had picked it up within 2 minutes. That bream then fell off at the bank, so at least I didn't have to touch it, but that was an absolute waste of time. And then as we were getting Pete's rod sorted, my right hand rod did a proper drop back, big swirl over the spot because it's quite shallow over there, and lifted into nothing, so I'd been done. That was an inline drop off, and half the swivel come out the lead, so it is sort of half dropped the lead, if you like. So that was definitely a carp, and lost that one on the take, so I'm not doing too well so far. Pete's got 1 rod out, he's just sending a second in now. The indicator setup that I'm using for these, now 3 rods obviously, I'm fishing 5-ounce leads, gripper leads or big drop off inlines, so I'm fishing super tight lines because I'm fishing up against snags. I don't want to have an inch of line, so I'm using, I'll swing it round for you, so I'm using my normal Fox Black Label bobbins, as you can see. Let me just sort this out a little bit. There we go. So Fox Black Label bobbin, but I've got it on a Springer arm. So it's basically super tight. So any movement there is going to indicate. So yeah, that's why I'm doing that. Super heavy leads, super tight lines, Springer arms. And so far that setup's working because I've had 2 takes, even though 1 was a bream and 1 fell off. It's irrelevant. So Pete's got his second rod out. He's got 1 more to put out, and I've got 2 to put back out again, which I suppose is the problem with using a bait boat. You have to sort of wait if you're with your mate, don't you? But there we go, bait boat's working well so far, no complaints. It's just coming back in from one of Pete's spots at the minute. Wide angle lens ain't going to be able to show it very well, but there she is. Right, turn the camera off because it's throwing it down, and I'll update you when the rain stopped. Well, we've come to the end of our session with the new direction bait boat, partially because the weather's awful, and secondly because the batteries have died. As you can see, I've had a change of clothes. It just goes to show how bad the weather was. I'm absolutely soaking wet. It's been miserable as all hell, which is why there hasn't been a great deal of footage because the camera's been sat inside the bivvy staying dry. But she's all packed away. Like I said, the batteries have died. We've used it a fair bit, to be fair. We've been bombing it around, having to play with it, making mistakes with it, such and such and such like. If we'd have used it properly to full knowledge, we'd have probably been able to get 9 or 10 rigs out to 150 yards plus, maybe something like that. I don't know how that compares to other bait boats, but I think that's pretty good. Obviously if you're fishing in closer you can use it a lot more, turning it off in between uses and things like that, which we weren't really doing because we were rushing around with it. So my final thoughts on it, I thought it was really good. I thought the GPS worked really well. Each time you sent it back out, it was accurate within about 1.5 foot or so where you were trying to get to. I think that's pretty good. Hoppers worked flawlessly, the controls were really responsive, worked really well. No hiccups at all while it was out on the water. When you dropped the hoppers, you knew they were dropped every time. There was no mistakes, no errors whatsoever, so I can't really fault it. Bait capacity wise, I'm guessing it takes about 3 kilos of bait in total with the rig, and I think that's plenty for dropping. I don't think you're going to need to drop more than that at one point. We didn't really get the lights on the go because we didn't feel we needed them, but they seemed really bright when we were looking at them. All in all, I think it's a great piece of kit, and all for less than £1,000 as well, so I think value for money and what you're actually getting in the package I think is really, really good. I know that other bait boats on the market are a bit more expensive than that, and some that are probably cheaper than that, but I know that with other brands as well, they're always going off for repairs and there's always issues and things with them. But I think this is actually a really good little bait boat from my very vague experience with bait boats. If you do want to find out more information about the New Direction bait boat, head over to their website, their Facebook page, and any other retailers they have as well. I think they're on Amazon and a few other places too. Have a look at them on there. They've got loads of videos on the YouTube channel about it as well. Probably a little bit more in depth than this one. I will be getting it back out on the bank again on a weekend where it's not throwing it down constantly, so I can do a lot more footage of it and do a full vlog video with it, and put it through its paces properly. Now I know how to use it as well. So keep your eyes open for that one. If you have any questions regarding it, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram, or message the New Direction guys themselves. I'm sure between us all we can answer any questions that you do have. But that's it from me from now. I'm going to head back home, and I will see you on the bank again soon.